Bryn was always crowded. Merchants, sailors, guards, men chasing coin, others trying not to lose it. Jorgrim had not come for any of that. Mannshire was behind him now. The contracts were finished. The ancient troll was dead. The caravan was finally complete as it could be. But before moving south, there was work to do. His bags still carried too much of the past. Bottles he did not need. Jewelry he would never wear. Curiosities taken from ruins, crypts, and forgotten places. Valuable to someone, worthless to him. The ancient coins went first, then the jewelry. Then every piece of equipment that no longer earned its weight. Everything became gold. Gold was easier to carry than mistakes. The real reason he had come to Bryn was not trade, it was preparation. Mannshire had tested his strength. What waited ahead would test everything else. A stronger coat of armor, a better axe, tools worth carrying. Surviving was not the same as being ready. By the time his business was finished, his purse was lighter, his equipment was heavier, and his thoughts were no longer on what he had done. They were on Rotten Willow, on whatever waited for him there. The road to Rotten Willow felt different. The forests were thicker, the roads quieter. Even the air seemed heavier. The kind of place where people disappeared without anyone asking too many questions. Jorgrim arrived at the settlement, looked for work, and chose his next contract. His first Tier 3 job. The first step into a land where experience alone would no longer be enough. Leif watched him prepare, then watched him fight. Only once. That was enough. He understood Jorgrim's style. Take the hit, return a stronger one. But here, that would not always be enough. The enemies around Rotten Willow were different. Stronger, faster, more disciplined. Some fought with technique, others with tricks. And mages would no longer be a rare sight. That would likely become a weakness in Jorgrim's style. It was not criticism, it was an observation. It would no longer be enough to simply block and dodge. Sometimes a blow would need to miss before it could land. Sometimes a man would need to be slowed down before he became a problem. Sometimes a good position would be worth more than the finest armor. For the first time since arriving, Jorgrim felt that Rotten Willow would demand something new from him. Not more courage, not more strength. Something harder. Control on the battlefield. Jorgrim arrived at Margrave's Bastion as prepared as he could be. New equipment, new lessons. Little by little, he began applying Leif's advice, without abandoning his instincts, refining them, choosing his position more carefully, forcing the enemy to fight on his terms whenever possible. The first enemies fell, but this was only the beginning. Margrave's Bastion still held most of its secrets, and Jorgrim had only just crossed its gates. Jorgrim's mindset was slowly changing. Margrave's Bastion would be a long dungeon, a difficult one. But if he made it out alive, the lessons waiting inside could prove invaluable. Every battle, every mistake, every close call. Another step toward refining his Berserker style. The war dog's jaws closed around Jorgrim's hand. One of his axes slipped from his grip and hit the ground. A mistake that could have ended badly. But Jorgrim never lost control of the fight. He repositioned, forced the enemy to spend valuable resources, waited, watched, then struck when the moment was right. It was becoming clear that he was approaching each battle differently. Less like a brawler, more like a duel. His instincts were sharper than ever. A good thing, because the enemies in this place did not forgive mistakes. Jorgrim was beginning to make use of a new tool. A simple movement, a strike aimed low. Nothing impressive to look at. Yet its value became obvious with every fight. An enemy who could not move freely was easier to control, easier to predict, easier to force into a mistake. It gave Jorgrim room to reposition, room to breathe, room to decide how the next exchange would unfold. Leif had been right. Not every advantage came from enduring pain. Sometimes it came from making sure the enemy could not fight at their best. And when the moment finally arrived, Jorgrim was exactly where he wanted to be, ready to answer with a stronger strike, one sharpened by pain, but no longer controlled by it. Mages remained a weakness for Jorgrim. At least, they would have been if he had fought them the same way he once did. But Leif's lessons, combined with his own instincts, were beginning to show results. Out in the open, a mage could dictate the fight, control the distance, force mistakes. In a confined space, things were different. There was less room to run, less room to cast from safety. Jorgrim was learning that not every battle was won with a stronger swing. Sometimes it was won before the first blow was ever struck. After countless fights, Jorgrim finally came across a room the bandits had turned into an armory. Most of it was nothing special. Weapons, armor, supplies taken from merchants, travelers, and men less fortunate than themselves. But among it all, something caught his eye. An axe. A better one, more aggressive. Built for a warrior who intended to end fights, not endure them. In Bryn, he had considered buying one like it. The gold simply had not been there. Now it rested before him, hidden deep within Margrave's Bastion. Jorgrim picked it up and tested its weight. It felt right, almost as if it had been waiting for him. These two enemies looked different, more dangerous. And judging by the way Jorgrim slowed his pace, he knew it too. That trap won the fight. Once again, Jorgrim's instincts had saved his life. The dungeons were longer here, which meant the fighting lasted longer too. One battle became another, then another, and another. Jorgrim was beginning to feel the exhaustion, the weight of every swing, every wound, every step. The worst part was knowing the hardest fight was probably still ahead. The boss was waiting somewhere deeper inside. Exhausted or not, Jorgrim kept moving forward, one step at a time. Every corridor could hide a fight. But stopping would not get him out of Margrave's Bastion. So he advanced, slowly, cautiously, and without taking his eyes off what lay ahead. boss fight had finally arrived. As soon as Jorgrim approached the chamber, every enemy inside began moving toward him. The mage, his guards, every one of them. This would not be a battle, it would be a pursuit. Jorgrim turned and ran, not from fear, from necessity. A mage protected by enough men could kill him long before he ever reached his target. He needed the right ground, the right angle, the right fight. Corridors passed. Footsteps followed. Then he found it. Pillars, blind spots. A place where sight could be broken. A place where the mage could not unleash his full power. The battlefield had finally become one he could survive. Against all odds, Jorgrim survived. Every decision made on instinct, every lesson from Leif put into practice, every step taken with purpose. Back in Fjall, mages were rare. Stories more than a real concern. Here in Aldor, things were different. Elemental magic, arcane magic, powers that could kill a man long before steel ever reached him. Jorgrim learned that lesson in the middle of battle, the hard way. Now, with the last bandit defeated, only one task remained: free the prisoner. The contract was complete. Jorgrim was exhausted, wounded, but satisfied. He had adapted, at least against bandits. The refinement of his fighting style had only just begun. For the first time since leaving Mannshire, he was no longer focused solely on finishing the job. He was focused on becoming better at it. Improving his combat, adapting his style, preparing for whatever Rotten Willow decided to throw at him next. For now, there was nothing left to do. Recover, rest, eat well, and collect the reward. The contract was over. Tomorrow would bring a new day, a new mission, new lessons. new scars, and a new opportunity to refine the warrior Jorgrim was becoming. Thank you for joining me on this chapter, and I'll see you in the next one, where we'll witness together the continued refinement of Jorgrim's Berserker style in Rotten Willow.